Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is the 15th of January, and it's your last maths virtual lesson of the week. So we're back to the 3-question starters today. So you're going to have a go at these 3 to warm you up, either on a bit of paper or a whiteboard if you've got one. Number 3 takes some thinking about. It's something we've done a little bit of, but we've not yet in year 6 tackled angles of shapes yet. You did it in year 5, you'll have done similar to this, so give it your best go, but if you really are flummoxed and don't know what to do, please do not panic. So what you're going to do, give it a pause, have a go, and then come back, unpause, and we'll go through the answers. So pause it now and have a go. And hopefully we had a good old go at those, so let's move on. So what are the missing digits? So we were given a 3 in the tens column, so 30 something, add 5 of something equals 111. Okay, so it was 36, add 75. Annie and Ron each think of a number. I'm thinking of the number 6. The product of their numbers is 762. Now remember that word product means the answer of a multiplication. So 6 times something is 762. Now we don't have the number it's times by, so we're going to have to use the inverse. So we have the product, the final answer, and we divide that by the 6 that Annie is thinking of, and that gives us 127, which would be Ron's number. Just a bit of backwards working there to get it. Now find the size of angle B. This required a fair bit of shape knowledge. First bit, we had to know that the internal angles of a triangle add to 180. So we've already got one angle, 77. We need B, we didn't have this angle, but we can get this angle because the triangle's in a square. Now if you look at the square, that angle there in the corner is a right angle. We know a right angle is 90 degrees. So this part here, add 25, must equal 90. So we're going to use the inverse to get the missing part. So the whole 90, take away this chunk 25, leaves us with 65 degrees for this angle. Now we've got 2 of the angles of a triangle, so we add them together. 77 add 65 is 142. And we know that all the angles of this triangle add to make 180. So we take the 180, we take away the 142 we've got with the 2 angles, leaving us with 38, and that is your missing angle of 38 degrees. Way to check it, add 38, 65, 77, we should get 180. Again, please don't panic if you didn't get that one. It took some real thinking about. Today, we're looking to find percentages of an amount. Now, the percentages we're going to find are common percentages, so we're going to use a fraction-based method. Next week, we're going to move on to using a different method to find these amounts, but today we're sticking with our fraction-based method we've been looking at. Star words, percentage, convert, divide, fraction, and multiple. So how many get multiples of something and go into something else. Today we're focused on finding a percentage number using lots of skills we've looked at previously. So how would I find 50% of a number? Let me go through this example for you. So what's 50% of 20? Okay. We need to make the percentage into its equivalent fraction. I know some of you might be there thinking, Mr. Frome, this is literally ridiculous. I know 50% means half, I'll just do it. But I'm using the easier half to show you how you might use the method in other styles of questions. So just stick with me. So we're starting to remember some equivalent fractions. Instead of having to work out the equivalent fraction each time, we just know 50% is a half, 25% is a quarter, 75% 3/4, 20% 1/5. We're starting to get those stuck in our minds. So we can say that 50% equals a half. Now what we're going to ask is what is 1/2 of 20? And that makes it a bit easier because then we take our denominator and we've got our amount and we divide our amount by the denominator. So 20 divided by 2. And then if it's 1 on top, we don't need to do this stage, but we multiply by the top. But really, we know that 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 times by the 1 is still 10. So 50% of 20 is 10. Now we can easily see that because 20, if we cut it in half, we know that it's 10. But a simple example, to talk you through. So what you do, change a percentage to a fraction, then divide the amount by the denominator, and then times that by the numerator. But if it's 1, you don't need to do that. So I would find 25% of 40. First, change 25 into equivalent fraction of a quarter. We're hopefully knowing that 25% is a quarter now. If you don't know the equivalent fractions, you can still use our method of putting 25 over 100 and then simplifying it. It just takes a couple of extra minutes, but it's no drama. It's 25 over 100. Biggest number that goes into both is 25. One lot of 25 is in 25. 1 goes on top. 4 lots of 25 go into 100, so a 4 goes on the bottom. Doesn't matter if that's the way you want to do it, if you don't know them instantly. We then need to find, instead of 25%, we now need to find a quarter of 40. So we take the denominator and divide by the 40. So 40 divided by 4 gives me 10. Now, if the numerator was a different number, I'd multiply it by it. But because it's 1, I can just take this as the answer. So 25% of 40 is 10. So we changed it to a fraction, divided the amount by the denominator, and then multiplied by the numerator again. So sometimes a question may try to trick you out by just being worded differently, but it means the same thing. So here is a sneaky example I've took from your learning that you're going to do today. It says evaluate. Ugh, all evaluate means is just do it, find it. 75% of 8,000, they put the multiply sign. It's something we don't need to write, but they put it there to make you think you need to do something different. You don't. All you do is find 75% of 8,000. So 75% equals 75 over 100. What goes into 75 and 100? What's the biggest thing that goes in? 25. 3 lots of 25 make 75, which goes on top, and 4 lots of 25 make 100, which goes on the bottom. So simplest form, 75% is 3/4. So then I know that I'm going to take the denominator and divide it by the amount I've got. So 8,000 is my amount, divided by the denominator, which is 4. 8,000 split into 4 equal parts is 2,000. I could do it bust up if I wanted, or I can just do it in my mind, whichever way. Now, what's different about this question is it has a number other than 1 as the numerator. So what we need to do is we need to multiply the answer we get, the 2,000, by the numerator. So our numerator is 3. So I need to know what 3 lots of 2,000 are. So 2,000 times by 3, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000. So then we say 75% of 8,000 is 6,000. So exactly the same method, even though it said evaluate and put a multiplication, exactly the same method. What I want you to do is I want you to have a go at finding the percentages of these numbers using what we've just done. So remember, 50%, a half, 25%, a quarter. Try and then find, using that method, these ones for me. So pause it, have a go, then come back and we'll go through the answers. So give it a pause for me. Brilliant, let's get ready then. So 50% of 300, so a half of 300, 150, 50% of 30 is 15, 50% of 60 is 30, 25% of 300 is 75, 25% of 30 was 7.5. Hopefully we got that one. It's a little bit tricky because it goes into decimals. And 25% of 60 is 15. Moving on, what you're going to do now is you're going to go onto your mathematics and you're going to complete the assigned activity for today. But remember, don't be tricked out by that word evaluate or the multiplication sign. Just do what you know. Change the percentage into a fraction and then divide by the denominator. That's all, and then times by the numerator if it's different from 1. That's all you have to do. Okay, so pause it, do that, and then come back and we'll do our problem to finish. Off you go. Here is our problem then. So Mo says to find 10%, you divide by 10. So to find 50%, you divide by 50. Do you agree? Explain why. So have a look, think of the method we've done. Is that what we do for 50%? Do we divide by 50? I want you to pause, have a go in your home learning book, and then we'll come back and go through the answers. So pause it now and have a go. Okay, let's go through those answers. So Mo is wrong. Hopefully we got that, because 50% is equivalent in fraction terms to a half. And to find a half, we don't divide by 50, we divide by the denominator, which is 2. So we divide by 2, not 50. That's basically the answer. You didn't need a lot of explanation. There it is. If you got something similar, then obviously you would have got it right. To finish this week's maths learning, can you shut down the video once you're done with it, and then go on to TT Rockstars and spend 10 to 15 minutes practicing your times table fluency. Thank you for a superb week of maths learning, and we'll be back and ready to go again next week. Bye bye now.